Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here with episode 5 of the Spartan Training Ground Overpowered podcast. I'm Robert Wilson. With me is Andrew the Prodigy, now the champion. Taylor. Andrew, how you doing, man? How was your weekend?
I'm doing pretty great. It was an above average weekend, I would say. It was pretty incredible, actually.
Did you do good
How
in the
about you?
tournament? Was something going on? Did you do
I did
okay?
okay. I did okay, That's what everyone kept asking me, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing okay, Doing okay. Just got to keep it low key. And we're just playing some games, having some fun. And all of a sudden you're 7-1 going into the top 8. And I mean, any of those games could have gone either way. It was just like it was a nice clean run. I was on the right side of variance when I needed to be. Pretty good, solid deck, good matchups. It was pretty epic.
Yeah, and for anyone that's listening, over Spotify or whatever, might not be able to see it, but as the champion, you have a beautiful, shiny national
I do
championship
want to
ring
grab
there
it.
with you. That's sitting in front of you. Or is that
Oh
the other
yeah,
one?
the shiny ring. Well, this is Galactus. This is the Galactus ring.
There's more. There's more. Nice.
Yeah, that's
And
the
the
that's the
trophy behind
Galactus
you.
ring. Yeah, got the season 0 national champion, Columbus, Ohio.
Hell yeah, it looks awesome.
The bling.
Yeah, just all of the trophies in there, and there was a sweet piece of art as well. I think you got
Yes,
the
that's being mailed to
Ultra
me.
Foil Headless Horseman, right?
Yep, yeah, thanks to Doug Sims. He's mailing all that out to me. Yeah, ultra rare foil uncut sheet, which is pretty epic. It's going to look awesome framed. And got my top choice of the 4 pieces of original art, full size, which is awesome. So I was debating between Headless Horseman and Robin Hood, both just incredible. Moriarty is really cool too, and Cthulhu's awesome, but I kind of knew Thomas would want Cthulhu, and the other 2 were more appealing to me. So went back and forth, and I was like, I liked Headless Horseman so much, I tracked down that ultra rare foil card, even though I don't play Headless Horseman, because that would be kind of silly. But yeah, that's the one I ended up picking.
I mean, that art is just so metal. Like
Yeah.
it just has such an aura to it that the other ones kind of don't have. I mean, if it were me, like looking at those, like Moriarty probably been the one I took if I'm not taking
hmm
Headless Horseman, just because that's kind of more my personality. But that's sweet. I collect original Magic art,
Oh,
so
yeah?
so I'm a big fan of the art pieces.
They're pretty sweet. I mean, I got that one from my dad up there. The OG Doctor Doom, the expendable ally, which is just awesome. Him just holding one of his lackeys in the way, taking the energy blast so he doesn't have to eat it. So sick.
Yeah, I would love to track down some of the old. I'd like an old Overpower piece or two eventually for the collection. I'll get there, but that's sweet.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got more for the room. I mean, so obviously you won. Like we'll kind of get into that, but how were the non overpower, the non tournament aspects of the trip? How was that?
I
Show
mean,
for
it was great.
Columbus. Tell people how awesome Columbus is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Columbus is incredible. We had the best hosts ever. It was great. Like for in Philly, I just had like so much stress the whole time and anxiety and got terrible sleep. And I mean, this time was just super chill. I was just like, I'm going. I prepared a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. I really wanted to do well, but like I was just trying to have like no expectations other than having a good time and trying my best. So yeah, it was great. Got an Airbnb that was like a 10-minute Uber ride away, and all of us had our own room. Traveled with a big crew. There was 5 of us in our Airbnb, and then there was 5 other Seattleites that were staying elsewhere. So we brought a total of 10, and yeah, it was just great. We got in at a reasonable time on Friday. I wanted to play in skirmish, but then I got there and we got there like a little bit late, and I was like, let's not cook our brains ahead of time doing this whole different mode and rewire everything. Like it would be fun and be cool, but I think skirmish is better like the day after. But like, listening to the Phil Keffer advice of like prioritize sleep and get some food in you, make sure you're hydrated, that sort of thing, that you can get up early and smash it the next day. But yeah, Columbus is awesome. The room was huge. They were just the best, most gracious hosts. It was awesome. No complaints at all.
Awesome. That's glad to hear. Yeah, Columbus is great. I mean, there's just so much like good food around downtown, like right by the convention center, like stuff to do if you want to go out. So, I mean, anytime there's either a Magic or Overpower or some kind of event there, like I'm always happy about it.
hmm
And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I think it's like one of the top like 3 or 4 like cities I've been to for events. Like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's also pretty good. Indianapolis is pretty good. So yeah, no, glad you had a good time. I mean, you talked about, you said you prepped a lot. Like, Let's talk about your preparation.
Well, if we talk about that, everyone's gonna think I'm a tryhard. I mean, most people already know I kind of am, but yeah.
We're a
So
podcast for tryhards. It's fine.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I did a lot of prep. I mean, like Thomas did so much work figuring out that top eight stuff, and Pierre does as well. And the data they compiled, I'm just kind of looking at everything, and that factored a lot into my testing because, like I had said before, like I don't get to test against double shift a lot, but I knew it was going to be everywhere. And thankfully, one of our guys, Theo, ended up bringing it at the last minute. He put his own twist on it. He brought Poseidon for like a mill and an end game plan, which was cool. But even like, even just getting to test against that is still the core of the deck. Like, you're facing hardly any duplicates, and you got to get through the two big shift cards on top of like a fairy for most of them. So I did a lot of like, studying the files, all the stuff that LRG's put out there. I watched multiple times. I'm always hanging out in Discord, even if I'm at work, half paying attention, listening, watching. People are, always cooking up new concepts, and like I'm still new enough where like I'm not set in my ways on anything, so I think I can take like a little piece here and there. There's some people I definitely think who do things wrong, but like they have a certain, there's a certain charm or merit to what they do, and it like sometimes works for a reason. So like I just take a little bit from everybody and kind of concoct my own stuff. But the main thing was the double shift. Like I knew I was going to be seeing that all the time, and so like that's why Joe and Thomas both brought Cthulhu. Was like they had the same plan as me. Like my plan was either burst them down before they get the shift off, or milk the game until we go late, and then use EFO and Spartan to crush them in the power pack type of thing. And their plan was burst them down before they draw it, or utilize things like the call, like -5 HP. Like go ahead and shift your stuff around because it doesn't matter. Your guy's gonna die anyways. So yeah, lots of scab games online. Lots of games with the boys. We trained hard, like 2-3 times a week. I was putting in like 50 games a month on average. And yeah, you just like when you play that much, first off, it's just really fun for me. But you also see like tons of situations that like rarely come up, and you kind of know what happens or how to mitigate it or how little weird rule interactions work and end up going down. So there's like less surprises, I guess.
No, that makes sense. I mean, looking at your deck, Joan, Wicked Witch, Morgan, and Sheriff in the back, and then Spartan Training Ground and Fairy Protection is your Cataclysm. We've talked about before, like having this kind of end game like scenario, and I think you really had such a good plan between Spartan Training Ground and EFL that like if you get that far, like it's just kind of this inevitability. I mean, we talked about it with like characters like Raw, and I know some people probably saw your team and was like, Sheriff makes no sense.
Oh, absolutely.
And then seeing you go over the top to kill Sun Wukong against Ricky in top 4 was just like, yes, oh my god, that was so epic.
Even Joe, who was commenting on it, and he's like, I don't get this, I don't understand what's happening. And it was so great because I'm like, that's great. I think that's how half my opponents were for the first half of the game. Like, what's happening here? And I got to give credit. I didn't realize Josh Alexander was the first one who did this in Legacy, because Fairchild has the same special, and he would chain like her attack into Things 10 from the back. So I guess I just kind of rediscovered the same gold mine.
And we even mentioned that, like, I don't know, a podcast or two back when we were talking about like people doing the exact same with Thing, like having him back there with just like a big attack, and you set it back there, and he comes up late game, and maybe defenses are exhausted, and he just takes out a character on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, so how was playing Taxes? Because you posted your list online, and you were playing Sheriff's 10 and his +2 per battle.
Yeah.
How was that special?
No. I didn't play it's the 9 brute force, and then I didn't play the +2. I just played the Taxes. I experimented with the +2, but he can't play that from back there because it's not an attack. So ended up with just the 9 and the Taxes. But I mean, that was the biggest like hole of the deck, because like when you play Morgan, you're getting all these sick utility cards, but you're giving up so much venture, right? Like I could bring in John Carter, who has like 24 to 32 venture and protects his allies, or something like that. Tarzan. There's so many things that you could bring, but it's like she makes anybody in the reserve playable. I did a lot of experimenting. I posted it all on Facebook, but like I was looking at King Arthur in the back or Count because like the grids align a little better. I'd have a second intellect character. You know, Arthur would be cool, like the venture bonus and then the 7, but I didn't want to use like Arthur and then I go up against a frontline Jane or Van Helsing and then they just like get rid of his 7 while it's placed back there before I can get it off type of thing. But that would have been cool, the 9 and the 7. And then Count throwing the 6 or 8 with the FL and then to discard 2 at like a max 7 character and then the steal a power card, attack their own guy with it. But I was like, you know what? Consistency is what wins games, and like the 9 is always a 9. I command an army, and the taxes, like you're never throwing it at a power card that's like a 3 or less. So it's always like at least 8 venture. Sometimes it's up to 16, and I got a couple people's 8 with it, where it's like a 16-point venture swing, and yeah, it definitely filled the hole. And occasionally, you know, somebody like counterbursts you down and I lose a guy, like Joan goes down after EFL's out, and I'm like, whatever. And then Sheriff comes up and he starts throwing his own stuff, and then Morgan threes can then throw the KO'd Joan cards. So redundant, like backup plans.
Like, and it kind of generates card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're not losing out on those dupes. I mean, I can see people like you placing taxes. Yeah, I meant taxes, not ruled by fear, but since it's an attack, but see you placing taxes and people just not even thinking about like whatever, it's in reserve, like I don't have to deal with it. And then Morgan just sniping an 8 or something and just really getting people. I mean, and you know, looking at Sheriff being able to follow up his own teamworks, having like, you know, in a vacuum, probably 2 of the better offensive cards that you can play from reserve, you know, like big venture swings. Like I think that was a really good plan, and I think you know, is an angle we haven't seen a lot. So I mean, I think, you know, my point is things might look weird, but you know, you really took the time to kind of find something and experiment, and it, you know, clearly worked out. Like,
yeah,
you know, so some inspiration for people in the future when they're considering their decks. I mean, you know, like we saw Adam with the Raw in the back and kind of doing a similar thing, and using Morgan to just be able to generate venture. I mean, like, you know, we talked about what are you asking a character to do in the roles, and you looked at Morgan and were like, well, she doesn't generate a lot of venture, and it's okay, Sheriff does, and you found ways to do it while also, you know, getting Spartan Training Ground and supporting EFL. And yeah, I think it was a really cool plan that on its face looks like, I don't, what's going on here, and then it hits you and you're like, oh man, like it hits like a truck. Like, that was sweet.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even when EFL gets negated or wiped, which does happen, all my guys have a 5. That's like their most important stat. Like Morgan and Witch both have a 5 intellect. Sheriff and Joan both have a 5 combat. And so what that allows is with my Spartan Training Ground split, there's 2 red and then 2 blue and 2 energy to kind of soak the Reaper occasionally if necessary. But all of those gives me, every character has access to a 9 when I draw that 5 multi in the power pack for a kill shot.
Yeah, I think it was such a cool plan. I loved it. And using Spartan Training Ground makes us look good, so.
Yeah, right? I mean, it was so thematic. I brought it to PAX and got curb stomped, and then I was like, you know what? There's still something here. I'm not quite giving up on it yet. Like, pretty sure it had never made the top 8, and now there was two of them at Nats. It may have made one deck in top 8. I know we've seen Dracula's Armory like once or twice, and a little bit of Land, you know, whenever Felipe makes it, and Sean B when he made it that one time. But Spartan was just so unrepresented, and just like with how many games I played, like so many games, if it gets to Power Pack, then I just win, unless the timer gets me first. So I was like, there is definitely something there.
Yeah, I mean, being able to trade up or just go over the top of someone, it's like a pretty big advantage, you know, the 1 or 2 battles that, you know, determine the match. So I'm a big fan of Spartan Training Ground.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so let's walk through your day, because you went to the Swiss X1, right?
Yeah,
out of Swiss.
Yep, I was the only one. Jess was the only 8-0. I was the only 7-1. Yeah,
so
it was. Sorry.
You tell me. Do you want to go round by round on your matches, or you know, kind of talk through some of the memorable ones?
Yeah, I mean, like I should have taken better notes. I saw Andy was doing a great job at taking notes, and I think Pierre does the same thing after every battle, and I'm going to start doing that going forward, because it like you're like, oh, I'm going to remember this. I'm never going to forget. And then, you know, it all blurs together by the end of the day, especially when you're trying to track so much stuff. So I don't like have like a crazy recollection of everything that happened in every match. My first match was against Jesse Bradford, and I was very intimidated because I look like a little peon next to that guy. He's a monster. And yeah, he had a similar build. He had Mina and Witch up front, and he had Morgan in reserve. I'm trying to remember if his last one was also Joan or if it was somebody else. And I think he was running a Skelepion, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Sorry, Jesse, if I'm wrong on that. And on that match, it was he was very methodical and careful, and I kind of saw an edge where I could take out his Witch, which was also his only 8 ranker, in hand 1 or 2. I think it was 1. And so I drilled her down, and then from then I just played super cautious and just kind of rode out the card advantage and the fact that there's no 8s and no harness I have to deal with. So he did mount a comeback for a little bit there, but I just kind of like stepped on his throat early and just kind of didn't let him up type of thing. And then my second game was against Marcel. That was an awesome game, and I know he's not going to tell anybody on his podcast, so I'll just tell you. He had Double Shift and Deja, which we're all going to know. But the interesting part is he's just straight raw dogging a Rapier in his deck. A basic universe, 6 combat plus 3, which is usable by Deja or anyone except Witch. Deja, Billy, or Wukong. So he's kind of trying, his own sneaky shenanigans here. He also had great card advantage. He was the only one with a draw 3 in the Cataclysm category for top 8. And then Deja has her own draw 3, so a little homage to Phil Miller there. But yeah, that was a great game. There were a couple times where I was doing a hit and run, like I'd kill somebody and then run before the retaliation happened, just because my deck's so much faster than his. And by the time it came down to the end, I had totally turned it around. Half his team was dead. It was, I draw my cards, he's got some unusables, and it's just game over. I'm like, I gotta bet a little extra because last hand got called, but I got this easy. And then my that was the first time of day where the tracking failed because I realized I had not seen a Hades yet. Right as he's slamming it down, and he's like, "Well, reset the venture, I win." And I'm like, okay, right, yep, fair play. You are in fact allowed to make that play. You win. I was like, but if this was untimed, it was a different story. And like it was a different story. 10 out of 10 times, I closed that game out if it was untimed. But that's part of the game. That's something that you should always be aware of. And somebody else did it to him at like a previous tournament. So, he learned his lesson and just happened to have Hades in his bottom 16 cards or whatever. And he played really well. There was great. I got him a little bit like, I don't know if it was ruffled or I kind of like to poke the bear when I play, like not in a rude way, but just like table talk and like gather a little bit of information and just act super confident because everybody kind of takes it differently, but everybody gives you some type of information when you do that. And at one point I'm thinking out loud, I'm doing like the Dave and I'm talking things out, and he looks across the table and he goes, what did he say? He said, "Are you commentating or are you playing?" And I was like, I'm doing a little of both. And yeah, the match continued, but we have a great rapport and back and forth, and he is still the only 2 games we've ever battled. He has taken me down, so that guy's got my number, and I'm coming for my vengeance next time. I'm trying to think. I don't remember the order. I had a great game against Andy, also brand new player, brand new-ish, not super brand new anymore. He's the one who does all those awesome Cobalt articles, and he's on Discord all the time. He had a cool deck similar to yours, but instead of I'll just lay it out. He had Zoro, 3 Musk, Sherlock, and Billy. So combat focused with a little bit of intellect, very well rounded. He posted his list afterwards, which was actually really interesting. He had 4 teamworks, no combat ones. He had 1 intellect 1, 8 to use for Sherlock, so kind of his like 5th special. And then he had 3 of the any powers, so he actually doubled up on the 6 any powered teamwork, which Ty was saying is a great idea to do, and it's definitely not a bad idea. My game with him was the only game where he duped on it, so like it does happen and you have to be okay with that, but the games that it doesn't, it's pretty solid because that's an extra 6 in your deck. But yeah, he played really well. I kept thinking he had a 3 Musketeers, the defensive card placed, and there were a couple times where I was like, he's gonna dupe on that. And then I found out once I saw his list that he only has 1 of those in there. It was very, very lean. I don't know if he had any triplicates, maybe with power cards, but 2 Zoro riposts. I think he did have triplicates with some power cards because of he had like 2 combats and an 8 any, and then I think the same for maybe only had 2 7s. I don't remember. But anyways, very well-rounded deck. He's getting a lot of venture from Three Musk, a lot of power, a little bit of speed from Three Musk and Zoro, and then Sherlock kind of rounding it out. And he did play the Sherlock pin, which was pretty solid. And he kind of tricked me with a killer move. He played like, I think it was an ally or it was the aspect or something, and I blocked it. And then he changed targets and threw 3 quick strokes, and they ended up using the 8 to follow it up as a kill shot because he knew I had like no cards in hand or 1 card in hand or something. So he got to over 15. Really sick play. I definitely did not see coming. But yeah, really well rounded. I think I just kind of like grinded him out. I got to the end and I had 1 training left that I was able to use to seal it out. But that game definitely could have gone either way. Like he had my number for part of it. It was a very good back and forth. I wish that one was recorded because it was sick. 1, 2, 3, and I think that could have been round 4 or 5. Oh, I played Doug Sims. That was a good game. I also played Corey, so everyone was like, "Oh, the Prodigy and Jessica are gonna battle," and I was like, "Please, no, thank you. Like, I'm not interested in that." And then they're like, "Well, if you win, you get the Sims family hat trick." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's true." But Jess seems to like destroy me every time we play. Right before she came and we were at this game store and she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play a game," and she took someone else's deck, some deck she'd never even seen before, and she just kind of like gave it a once over, and I'm like playing my deck that I was gonna play at the tournament, and it like came down to 1 card. Like she whooped my ass the whole time, and I barely snaked it out. And again, she had one of the characters she had never even played before. She gave the deck a once over, and like it was that close. I'm like what is happening? Like they just train on another level out there. But yeah, my game against Doug was it was certainly interesting. That guy plays so fast it like rattles you. Like at one point he had blocked a teamwork before I had even finished throwing it. Like like I picked it up and like kind of moved it across the table and he shows me a 5 multi and I was like, I thought it was the confusion because of how fast it happened. But yeah, I just ended up drawing better than him. He had, I think, the same deck, but he had Victory in the back and Round Table. Pretty sure he had the same front line. I could be mistaken on one character, but I'm pretty sure he was playing the ladies also. But again, he didn't have Spartan, so I was like kind of okay if it went long. That was a fast game because I'm already too fast of a player and Doug is a very fast player, like almost Derek level. So that one was kind of like the draws were what they were. Had a pretty epic game against Corey as well. Barely managed to take that one out. Like almost all my games were just like razor thin margin. I got to play my buddy Raz, who we see on the online league all the time.
Yeah.
He showed up. Yeah, he's awesome. He showed up for the last chance qualifier day before and was the only one to 5-0. And he's
awesome.
Taking it down. Like he was predicting beforehand. He's like, "I'm taking it down for Phil." Because he was playing his deck. The only swap was he just put the fairy in instead of the draw 3. And that same thing, the game could have gone either way. He got me with a sneaky Billy 5 near the end of the game and KO'd one of my characters. And he was betting 2 and 3 would have been for the win. So the 5, I didn't see it coming. It was out of hand. He had like 2 or 3 cards and then power pack. And the 5 ended up taking somebody down and moving the mission. I was like, oh god, now I can't run like at all. Like I literally have to win this. Somehow barely pulled that one out. I think that was 6. Oh, my last game was Diego. And this was a fun one. Diego played the same deck that he's been smashing everybody with. He played Nemo, Deja, Leo, and I think Billy. And it was awesome. Like he's that dude is so intimidating to sit across from. He gets so intense and he's so into it, and I'm doing my normal thing where I'm just table talking the whole time. And at one point near like the end of the game, I mean, it was kind of unfortunate for him because like he drew all his premium defense early and I had like witch discards. Like I played 2 of the shiny shoes, so I'm just like, I have to go through that. I can't just like kick the can down the road. He has all these crazy avoids, so I just used my discard place card to get rid of his premium defense. And he kind of like drew more teamworks than he could throw, which gave me most of them were red, so it kind of gave me time to like stall the game out, I guess, until near the end. And then near the end of the game, he has his Heimdall placed on Round Table, and so I had Morgan Duality, and I slap it down, and I'm like, Heimdall, and then he's sitting there thinking about it, and so I just continue chattering, and I'm like, buddy, if you have the Merlin, now is the time. And he looks at me, and he's all skeptical, and he goes, you play mind games. And I was like, no, really, I'm not playing a mind game with you, bro. This is like a 3-card swing if you let this go through. Like, if you have the Merlin, play it. And I know that's only negating his deck. So I was like, I'm not messing with you, I swear to God. And he didn't believe me. He sat through for like another like almost full minute before he finally decided to Merlin it. I was like, think about the math here, bro. I fry your card and draw one, and if I don't and you get to use that, you're blocking one of mine and drawing a card. So this is a 3-card swing here. Like, you definitely want to use it. I'm not messing with you. But like he's just so intense and into it and wants to win. And at that point, I had like a pretty substantial like advantage and lead, so it's totally comfortable like just laying it all out. I mean, I would say it either way, but unless I was getting my ass kicked. But yeah, that was really fun. He's just everybody there is so great. It's so much fun to battle, and like it's just such a great environment. I could hang out and battle these guys any day. So Swiss was fun. I think that's pretty much the recap, about the best recap. Again, next time I'm gonna take better notes so I have everybody's teams right and how the endings all were. But like I said before, I could have so easily gone 4-4 this tournament. Deck almost defeated itself a couple of times, variants and dupes, but I just like you just place out and run. Like if they're gonna really give me extra cards, then it's fun to catch up. Then it's fine. I'll sit and battle you because my deck's faster than yours. But most of the time, it's just no, place out and run, and I'll catch up the next hand.
Yeah, I mean, like knowing when to quit and to not, throw good after bad is like one of those skills that like really determines like, the good from the great in Overpower. And that's like a thing, that kind of comes with time. And we can get to the, I mean, now we're in top 8. I mean, in particular, there's a couple of things I want to talk about in your match with Ricky and your match with Thomas. But how was your quarterfinals match? Because that one wasn't on camera.
Actually, it was. It's just on the other channel. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Yep. I have a great little clip of it. It's like about a minute and a half. It's me against Joe Peters. So it's three Seattleites made it to the top 8. And I'm against Joe, so his deck's super fast too, and I was higher seed, so I was like, I guess I go first because he has Joan and Cthulhu on the front line, and then Sheriff, so he's throwing all these strings and monster attacks, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do that first. So we were like into hand 2 or something, pretty placed up, and I got 17 damage on his Cthulhu with 2 colors, and I had a 5 any in my hand, and he had an 8 place to Cthulhu. So, I mean, he kind of had to block, like, the Morgan 3. I start with the Morgan 3, and he looks at me, and he's shuffling his cards. He goes, don't make me cry. And I play the 3, and he goes, Andrew, my kids are watching. I said, don't make me cry. And then the Joan 4 comes out, and then another attack. And then the final attack was the 5 any trained up to be a 9 to get up and over the Cthulhu 8. And he's like, I said not to make me cry. And he flips Cthulhu over. Yeah, then I just kind of like wrote it out from there. I literally just drew better than him. Like that's all it is. That's how a lot of our games go down. Me, him, and Thomas. Like we're all pretty much same level. Like it's like there are tiny decisions that make a difference, but it often ends up being like who gets a hotter start and if you can read the other guy just to when to press the bet and whatnot. But yeah, that was a fun game. It's all on camera. I apologize in advance if there's any cussing because we didn't realize audio was being recorded at the start when we were joshing around. But yeah, that was a good one and it was a lot of fun. Love playing Joe.
Yeah, and I caught up. I got the kids to bed, was able to sit down, was packing prize packs for the online league, and I get to see your match with Ricky, which was awesome. This was such a good match. Definitely go back to it. And there were a couple, like pivotal moments. I mean, I know, and credit to Ricky for being like a stand-up guy. Mm-hmm. Like there were like two or three moments that kind of defined the match. Like so, the first one, which card? So he's playing 221B Baker Street, and you go and get your EFL back.
Yep, I spent 2 turns getting it back because I duality his Merlin to force it, because I know that's the only negate in his deck, and then I Gemini for it. And then he throws the Watson 6, and it's on the same color the same character is already taken an intellect hit, and I have a brain fart thinking, okay, we both open our hands, like it's fine. And then we do. And then he goes, I guess I'll take EFL. And I was like, oh my god. Then it hit me, like, you get to take a card with this. Like, duh. Why would you play that card if you didn't get to take a card with it? But, 14 hours of Overpower, your brain's a little cooked. And so I was like, dude, I totally would have blocked that. And then I just didn't like motion. He's like, it's fine. He's like, you can play Harness and block it. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. He's like such a stand-up guy. And so, like, I mean, there's so much on the line there, and that was just such a cool and classy thing. And I'm a true believer in karma because, like, at Philly, the game for my tournament life, there was also a similar situation, but it happened in reverse. There was an event out that modified your top character is a -2 to defense for this battle, and my opponent had attacked and I blocked, and then threw a follow-up attack. and then goes, crap, we forgot about the -2. And of course, at that point, the action's already been done and processed with, and I could have been like, nope, nudge, and been like, nope. But, like, my dad raised me in a way where, like, he's the most sportsmanlike guy ever. And so I've just always played the same way. Like, we're here playing a game. I know if there's money on the line, there's money on the line. But I will always take a clean loss over a dirty win. And so, like, that ended my PAX run, that day. And I was like, I didn't feel bad about it, because if I had won that, I probably would have kept me up at night, And so it ended up coming full circle, because Ricky's that same type of dude. And that was just so awesome that he allowed that. Now, going back and rewatching, I still think there's a sliver of a chance that I beat him, because I could have, if I didn't pop harness there, I have it for later, and I still could have put enough pressure on his Witch or Wukong, I can't remember which one I was attacking there, where he would have still had to concede the next action, and then I would have had harness going forward. So there's still a chance it wasn't like he handed me the game. It was just like one of those things that was big and it was pivotal, and having EFL out definitely was clutch for the rest of it. But yeah, can't say enough positive things about Ricky. He's such an awesome dude, and that's part of why I love this community so much, because, like, if roles were reversed, I would have done the same thing. Like, it was such an obvious mistake, and I think that's why he let it, be the way it was and let me take it back. Because, like, again, I had just spent 2 actions digging that out. Like, I duality'd to get the Merlin, and then went to go get it back, Like, it was so obvious that I missed that he was going to get a card. And so, yeah, such a class act. That was such a cool thing that he did.
And, I think the other thing, and I think Joe, and he was commentating, and me, I'm just like pounding in the chat. Like, when you go and grab the EFL out of the discard pile, I'm like, Ricky should just concede right here. Snap concede.
Yep, well, for sure.
Like, you had 3 missions bet. So, like, there's a cost, but he was so far up on card advantage. I'm like, he can make this up. Just snap concede.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I felt like the Breaking Bad meme,
mm-hmm.
where Walter's just like yelling, like, no, don't. And he plays the other card. I'm like, no.
Yeah, he wanted to get me to spend harness, which is like totally fair.
It is.
Like, I see the line that he took, but I totally agree. When I watched it back also, and Joe's like, if I'm Ricky here, I'm conceding right now. And yep, in his shoes, I totally would. As soon as you go back to get it, it's like, boom, I'm out. But then he has to deal with harness at a later turn, and I really have my foot on him, So he's in a bad spot either way. But I agree, like, EFL is just so gross.
Yeah, to me, like, EFL's kind of your, like, win con, like, to catch up, because he was so far up in card advantage. Like, I see why Ricky did what he did, and I think that, his plan makes sense. But, like, when I was looking at him, like, he's just up so many cards, you're almost losing that advantage if Andrew gets to play the EFL again. Or so
at least the value ends up not in his favor in the late game. But I mean, I still have, once his Merlin's gone, I still have one free hand where he had so many combat teamworks, and, like, I can, and a couple any powers, like, I can sit and take those all day long on the one turn where I have harness out. So then I catch up on cards with that too, you know what I mean? But the value engine of EFL is just unreal. When you get it in the first third of the game, it's just insurmountable if you can't negate it or wipe it.
Yeah, and then the third kind of big moment from that match was Morgan. You throw the Morgan special.
Mm-hmm.
We're like looking on his son Wukong, and we're like, looking at like, oh, what's the follow up going to be? And you grab the I Command an Army from Sheriff, and just go over the top of Sun Wukong, and it's like, oh, like, and just kind of like, we talked about earlier, it's such a good plan, and like identifying an opportunity in your deck that could have been a hole and finding a way to plug that hole. And that was just such a cool play right there, because I assume a lot of people would have missed that was sitting back there, or even just are just so used to thinking like, oh, it's in reserve, like it can't hurt me.
Yep, that's a problem for later.
Like, I don't need to deal with this, and then it comes and kills Wukong, and that was kind of like the catalyst for you to start like getting back into it.
Mm-hmm.
was Wukong being dead.
Yeah,
and it was there were just so many cool moments from that match.
There was. That was a great game. Yeah, having the ability to have the 9 from back there, and then EFL to make both the ladies specials into a 10, and then Spartan to make a 5 multi into a 9. Like, I can get up over so many eights. Like Leonidas does not scare me one bit. You can have the deluxe double stack of eights, and like I got lots of cards that can go up and over that.
Yeah, and then and then kind of go into the finals with Thomas. I mean, it was three hands, but
Hmm.
in particular, one of the things I noticed the first battle, you bet three missions,
Yep.
and I was like, this is where what we talked about with Andrew. He was like, I need to get better at betting aggressively when I have a good hand. And I saw you do that. I'm like, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go. Like he's playing to win here. So so like why I can't exactly remember what you had in your hand. I think I was just so distracted by it. It's like, oh, he must have a good hand. Like he's betting three. He's going for
Freya
it
and
first
the
hand.
fairy. Yeah, Freya and the fairy. So no one was going down. And then I had like a 4 or a 7, I think. And it was also just because, like, I'm like, if I'm going to go down on cards, which is what happened, like, if he's going to run, then, like, at least I got to get some missions out of it. Like Joe says,
Mm,
like, if you lose your cards because your opponent ran, just pretend you played them in that battle and won the battle. Like then it's not such a
right.
feels bad. And 3 is such a strong bet early because then if I'm able to clinch 2 in hand 2, then it's just 2 for the win and it's no extra cards for him. And I mean, like he was trying to keep up with me card for card and he had more cards than me, but I just noticed all of his cards were low and he just had a bunch of little cards. And I have initiative, and we both know how these string decks operate. When you're going first, like the other guy's totally on his heels, and I could so easily have gone the other way. But at the end, I just really liked my hand, and I was like, "Yep, going 2 for the win." I had a Joan 8 and a couple of big 4 and 5 multi and some other stuff. I just drew gas that last hand, and I was like, "Yep, I'm just gonna close it out." And even if I lose venture here, like I'm gonna kill a character, maybe 2, and then I'll just ride it out from there.
Yeah, I think that was a battle too where you essentially traded one for yours for two of his.
Hmm.
Was that game? Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's a great play. I saw you take one out. I was like, he's going to stay in and take out another guy and throw one of
Hmm.
his under the bus, and that's exactly what happened. And it was that kind of like war of attrition because like with Morgan, like if you lose a character, like so what? You can still play their specials
Yep.
to take out two of theirs and dead somewhere between 10 to 6 cards is pretty substantial. Like good on you for seeing those moments and kind of seizing that opportunity even after 14 hours of playing there.
Yeah, game 11 of Overpower for the day. And like, yeah, it's so hard to track everything. And I made a lot of mistakes, but I also did an okay job. Like there was a couple times my game against Corey and my game against somebody else. I was like, I noticed the last hand got drawn and then a couple cards in the power pack, and I was like, I haven't seen Freya yet. And I like called a couple of big cards, and it's so easy to do in theory. And like when you go to play 1 or 2 games at like your local store, it's a lot easier to track that. But when you're on like game 11 for the day, it's a little bit more difficult to track everything.
And I mean, this is like, again what we talked about, like developing that muscle memory and to be able to play it 1 in the morning and when literally everything is on the line. So
Hmm.
you did it, man. You went on an adventure and climbed the mountain, and
Yes.
you were
Yes.
alone at the top when it ended.
Yep. Which was awesome. I'm not totally alone. I mean, I had 2 of my boys with me, right nearby, just one step below. It was great.
Yeah,
Pretty unreal feeling.
yeah. Again, congrats to you. Way to kill
Thank
it.
you.
And yeah, I'm bummed I couldn't make it. I
Me too.
looking forward more to, I don't know, the next one. It'll be much easier for me to go to the next one.
No kidding.
And I'll be back in town in Columbus for it's OP Cup, like whatever the Columbus Regional is at the end of June. So I've
Hmm.
got that on my calendar. Hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully you guys can make it. Looking forward to seeing people out. I mean, we started looking at kind of the meta. I mean, I'll just run through the top 8 decks real quick.
Yeah, yeah,
So
let's do it.
all the 5 through 8 decks. I'll just run through these and then we can kind of pick and choose and talk about them. I mean, there's a lot of similarities in them. So
Which
Joe
witches?
Peters, lots of witch everywhere.
Hmm.
Joe Peters, Cthulhu, Sheriff Joan, Jane in the back, Spartan Training Ground, Fairy Protection, Marcel, Wicked Witch, Sun Wukong, Deja, Billy the Kid in reserve, Round Table, Lady of the Lake, Daniel MacArthur, Morgan, Middle Age Mob, Sherlock, and Raw in the back, Spartan Training Ground, Jessica with Wicked Witch, Mina, Joan, Morgan Le Fay in the back, Asclepion, Fairy Protection. The third and fourth place decks, Felipe, Wicked Witch, Jane Porter, Mina Harker, Morgan in the back, The Land That Time Forgot, Fairy Protection, Ricky, Sun Wukong, Wicked Witch, Dr. Watson, Carson of Venus, 221B Baker Street, Heimdall, Thomas, Joan of Arc, Jane, Wicked Witch on the front line, Cthulhu in the back, Fairy Protection. Then you had Joan, Wicked Witch, Morgan, Sheriff, Fairy Protection, and Spartan Training Ground. Yeah, thank you to Pierre for compiling all of that.
That's
and
right.
in his video, so I want to give him credit where credit is due. I did not go back and watch everything. I pulled that from his work, so thank you, Pierre, for that.
Yeah, he's the man.
So the first thing that stood out to me about this, Wicked Witch in 6 of the top 8 decks and Joan in 4 of the top 8 decks.
Yep, and they're busted alone or together, even nastier together. Yep. I mean, like, look at them individually and what, like we talk about what a character brings. It's more like when you look at those two, it's like, what do they not bring? Like, Witch is a 9. She has an 8 stat in her grid. She has a solid other stats. I mean, like a solid backup 5 intellect. She has an 8 multi, a 7 intellect special, and then she has the best defensive card in the game, Harness the Wind. And then she has a target discard, which is not even 1 per deck. So, like, the only thing she doesn't do is stop the Reaper, I guess. Like, and Marcel and some people play the Aquaphobic card where no universe attacks against her, which got me. I chucked an ally into her, and I was like, I'd cut that card because it's too situational. And he looked at me and he goes, well, this is that situation, which is kind of badass. But yeah. And then the 4, the half pin, which like a lot of people cut as well. I did too because I was a mostly energy deck. But that can kind of get you. Like she has 2 hits on her and you chuck it at the end of the battle. Like, oh, no more attack. Little mini fairy there. But yeah, aside from those 2, which are like, you know, situational, she has such a sweet kit and such amazing stats, and you don't have to pay any extra points to have an 8 ranker on your team. Like, she can be a support character and she can be an anchor. It's just insane. And then Joan, probably the most S-tier character of the set, like also one of the best defensive cards in the game. Lock out a combat icon and then no intelligence attacks. So often that can stop, you know, almost always stops a kill shot. And then so many cards it hits. Like it hits almost all teamworks, except for the any power ones. And, you know, all the multis. And any big combat, and we've seen how much combat's in the meta, like that's just incredible. And then further jamming up intellect attacks, it can be like a 2-for-1. If they're placed, it's like, oh, you're kicking the can down the road, but at least you don't have to deal with it right now. And if it's in hand, it's truly locking them out. So, incredible card, works for the whole team. And then she has, you know, some of the best attacks in the game. An 8 half multi, a 4 that's chains with each frontline teammate. So if you even play the event where you bring your reserve up, you get 3 additional attacks. And then obviously the best value card in the game, EFL, which I'm not one for nerfs or erratas, but I think EFL should be +1 to each icon or just +2 to one of the icons because they kind of put themselves in a limiting design space where they have to be so careful with every female character they add ever. And in like Felipe's Few in the Curse set, you know, the redhead, as they call her, she's going to have a 7 combat. So that's another character who can just chuck 9s as soon as that, you know, that card is out. And the fact that you can get it out defensively sometimes. And it like, or you know, you don't even have to nerf it. If you just change it from Astral Plane to a paperclip. So like if Joan goes down, that card also goes away. Because as of right now, it's like, it's fine. Like if that card gets out with my deck, I don't care if you take Joan, go for it. It's like Morgan will still throw her cards. And EFL is out. That's the whole reason, like the main reason she's in the deck, in addition to the string attacks, but also bringing pretty much everything. And then she gives you a point discount, and she has a 7. She has a 7 intellect and a 5 combat, so also good stats. Just like probably the best support character in the set. So it does not surprise me at all that we're seeing her everywhere, and same with Witch.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see how Michonne fits into.
Yeah.
You know, since she's in the welcome deck, I don't mind talking about it. I don't think Joe will have a problem with that. But having a 7 combat and, you know, more of what's to come for her. I mean, you can see more of, you know, kind of the big attacks as well.
And big blocks, up value blocks.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how those two pair together, and you know, like, is this going to become a thing? You know, I just rattled off top decks. I mean, Witch in 6 of them, Joan in 4. I mean, that's pretty. And kind of like running through them, like, so Joe, string attacks, Spartan for card advantage. Marcel, double shift.
Daniel's deck was really cool. He won like most unique deck or something. I didn't get to play him, unfortunately, but his deck was awesome. Not just because he ran Spartan Training Grounds. Is that 3 Spartan Training Grounds in the top 8? That is so sick. People love our podcast.
Daniel,
And Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, so 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's so awesome.
You know, Daniel's deck between Raw and Spartan Training Ground, like you just kind of have this end game. Like if you get the power pack, you're just gonna bully them, and it's
and not even like he ran the event to pop up Raw from reserve. So I'm sure in half his games he pulled the staff out and then he just slides safely back to reserve. It's like, yep, +2. I can block a 7 with a 1. Like, yeah, so awesome. And utilizing Baby Mob is just I've heard them described as just the shotgun character. They just empty the clip. Like, so good, so much offensive power. Very cool deck he brought.
You know, like, Mob gives you the chain attacks. You know, Jessica, looking at Witch, Mina, she's got Witch and Joan. Then Morgan can kind of, I like the, using Morgan in a different way in the back, and then using Asclepion to generate card advantage, either between Morgan or Mina. Like, oh yeah, I'll take your big special attack, and then, Mina negates it and draws a card and throw an attack at you, and it could be a string off the top, and then you just kill a character out of nowhere.
Or throw Mina 7 combat as a 9 and then heal and do it. Yeah. Her deck was incredible and she had such a good performance. 8-0 in the Swiss. Like, I really like her deck. I mean, our decks are very similar, but obviously doing different things. Like, if I had to face her, it would be I would play it just like I'm facing Land That Time Forgot, where like there's no running mid battle. It's you stay all the way, or at least till one character's fully KO'd, or you don't fight until the next battle. Because like extra negates, so much healing, like you have to just blow through a character, or if you do that little damage, a couple here and there, and then she manages to not let them die, then you're gonna have to deal with Asclepion.
I like that her deck kind of combines the aspects of kind of like Adam's deck that he did well with, between Asclepion and then having Morgan and Mina to heal those hits and generate card advantage. But she's also got the inevitability of Joan and Wicked Witch. So she, you're kind of like, each character's really doing it all here. Like, you've got so much out of it. Just feels like a team that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Like with this, I think it was a great deck and cool. And looking at Felipe, he's got the aggression with Land That Time Forgot. Like, you just kind of can't concede.
Yeah.
And then
you gotta play so different against it. I just played a little for fun match against him. You gotta play so different against that build.
Because this is all, like you can have some attacks out of nowhere here that you might not be ready for, and if you concede, Witch is probably going to throw an 8 at you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He even ran he was pretty good at keeping his guys up too. I noticed, I don't know how many specials he ran, but I noticed that he had Jessica also, which makes a little more sense in her deck because she's like so good at keeping her guys alive. But Felipe must have too, because he's been doing it all day. Like, they both ran Teamworks only usable by one character. Like, Jessica had a Brute Force Teamwork for Mina, as did Felipe. And then Jessica had a Power card only available for Joan. And Felipe had also an Intellect Teamwork only usable by Jane, to get like some offsuit stuff going. But I just thought that's so interesting. Like, I guess if you can keep your guys alive the whole battle, then it doesn't matter. Or maybe they cut down on their specials and ran a little bit less of them. But I mean, for Jess, between EFL, the healing, the fairy, the normal defensive package, harness, the negates in the front and the back, like, she probably had no trouble keeping her team alive for the most part. So that one I completely understand. But Felipe has a lot less defense because he's investing those 3 points into land. I mean, I guess not that much defense. He has Jane instead of Joan.
Yeah, I think you're hoping you can just make people not want to come after Jane. She'll, avoid the attack and discard, or you can shift into it, and Morgan and Mina can kind of take some hits off of characters. Yeah. So I kind of see where he took his original idea that he is previously playing with these decks, and then tried to give it a more defensive spin instead of just being like pure gas trying to bash face.
Right.
Ricky's got his deck that he just just ran through the last tournament perfectly with. So I
And
don't
the start of
blame
this
him
one.
running that back.
He was like 14-0 or something because he like won the first 4 or 5 in this one. Yeah, beast.
So he's got the double shift, and then
Triple
you
shift.
and then Thomas with more of the same. I mean, Joan and Witch, and so he's kind of got their defensive aspects with Cthulhu in the back to bash face, and seeing Jane in a couple places. I assume most people ran ethnoarchaeologists. Like I saw,
Oh.
I think I saw it out of a couple times in top 8. Like knowing that the shift is going to be such a part of the meta, and then EFL, because I mean, looking at this, every deck is running either Witch or Joan, right? So yeah, it's not a dead card, and if that's what you expect in the winner's meta, it makes sense to play something like that, even as much as sometimes it could be a dead card against like a rogue deck that you're not thinking about, or like the combat decks. But I mean, I think we've seen enough of this, like you kind of have to be prepared for the Witch and the Joan decks. Like that's kind of the top dog right now. So
Yeah, and almost everyone played Fairy too. So like Saint Michael, EFL, Fairy, Harness. You're almost always getting at least one card, sometimes more than that.
yeah, and sniping them if they're placed, like pretty
So
big game.
feels bad when it happens to you. Yeah, it's there's some strong stuff. I also like that Thomas had Cthulhu in reserve, and we talked a lot about like I looked at so many builds with him in reserve, just because you get that +1 placing slot, right? Like you're so used to seeing Billy or even Jane in the back, and you get like one attack. Cthulhu's got like an attack which he can run multiple of, and then the teamwork also. And it's different when you don't have to put your teamworks on your front line, because that's suddenly a third card that goes if you get like a nasty string sent your way and your guy gets KO'd. That's safe back there. Like nobody's running Mr. Hyde plus Wicked Witch and John Carter to drill the reserve and take them out. Like that's not a thing. So your teamwork is nice and safe back there, and it gives you +1 card on your opponent, which is it does matter.
Yeah, and when Cthulhu's in the back, you're essentially fighting a 4-character front line.
Yeah.
And you just can't go after Cthulhu.
Yeah.
So, I think it's cool seeing Thomas come for full circle, with, he got his start this season with a similar deck, and then, coming back to it. It's pretty cool.
With an 8-ranker in front this time.
Yeah. I mean, so you're preparing for season 1. Season 0 is behind us. Season 1 regional, whenever that first one is. That might be Columbus.
I think it's Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be Columbus. So what should you play? You're the champ. Tell us what to play.
I don't even know. I kind of like my next couple of experiments are going to be like I really want to try. It's probably just going to be for fun and not good, but I really want to try like a big deck with like 3 shield phalanxes in it, and then maybe like a negator to protect them, or like a combo of like Ra and Joan, so you can get like +4 to defense, or like Ra and Korak, like what's his name? Charlie H played, which was kick ass. He had a Zeus deck, Zeus, Ra, and Korak, and then Jane in the back. So when you add the staff out and shift to Korak, it's basically a +4, -2 and +2, and Korak's just defending everything, which I thought was so sick. Yeah, that would be kind of fun to do just like a big like Outlast You deck. Now I'd never run that at a tournament because of time constraints, but I think it would be pretty fun. But as far as the next regional, like I don't know if somebody could talk me out of like Spartan Training Ground, because it's just like it's a win condition for 2 threat points. Like I don't know. I really like Asclepion too, and there's certainly merit to Round Table and like taking your Reaper into the power pack, but I don't know. I really like Spartan. Maybe I'll try and make something happen with Drax Armory, because I think that's also interesting and pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think my next stop. Actually, you're pretty close to what I was thinking about doing. Witch, Joan, Morgan, and Ra.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you come at 76 points, so you don't get Spartan.
Yeah.
But between Ra and Joan, like, that's a lot of heat if you're going to the power pack. They just kind of have no shot. Like if you have between EFL and Ra's staff. So maybe I'll mess around with that. It kind of hits the Joan and Jane or the Wicked Witch and Joan. Like
Combo.
that's so powerful right now. And Morgan's good at being able to play other people's specials, save cards. I mean, I think that team that I just said kind of has one of the disadvantages you kind of identify with your winning deck, and the reason you put Sheriff, because Morgan doesn't have a lot of heat, like in terms of generating pure ventures. That could be. I'm just trying to think of like, what could work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. I
or
definitely looked at Raw. You could also include the not just the event that pops him up, but a couple few Morgan threes, and then you could play Eye of Sekhmet and his six, which is sometimes an eight, the half multi, and get a little bit of extra venture that way. I've still wanted to. I've yet to do it, but I really want to build a deck. I think it would be better in skirmish than normal, but I do want to build just like a monster venture deck, like Leo, Three Musketeers, and Tarzan, or John Carter. Something that's just like tons of eights and sevens, and then like go just like three hit kills on everybody and just not care about Spectrum because I'm so into Spectrum KOing, and it's a lot of fun. But the monster venture cards are like, I think I'm decent enough where I can try and keep a place card advantage and play from hand as much as possible, and just like if they run, that's fine. A lot of games are going to end in 3-4 hands probably, but you're also missing that speed and you have like no negates, and so there's definitely a lot of holes in it. But it's just like big cards good, like I feel like that would be really fun to do something like that. But yeah, I have no idea what I'll bring to Ohio. It'll be something completely different and new, that's for sure.
yeah, I feel like what you were just describing is like, didn't Nor play something like that at
Yeah, those Ohio
the year
guys, they love
before?
big venture. They
It's
love their King
just like
Arthur and
Zorro, Three Musketeers, like Leonide, just like bringing the big
Tarzan.
attacks and lots of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where we started with the season, beginning of season meta, where combat decks were the king, and everyone was like, oh man, what do we think about combat? Is this too strong? And, now we're ending up at, Wicked Witch and Joan,
Hmm.
and combat is nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere,
Yeah, I
nowhere.
mean, so,
I also think we
some,
haven't seen any. We haven't seen any Leo and Wukong together, which I think would be way cool. Because I mean, you could fit Korak and Jane with them. Maybe that's what I'll do for my tank idea of all the phalanxes. I mean, KO and it's over, so it's not like serious. I couldn't like bring it to a tourney or whatever. But if you get like three shield phalanxes and then Korak's -2, and you have the one transformation trickery to stall if you haven't gotten the -2, and just have Korak just be a beastly tank, and then you got two Ant Rakers like flanking him, big stuff, and both have a team defense. I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
I can see a word. I mean, cards like EFL and Raw's staff, maybe there is something to shield phalanx. Maybe we've kind of underestimated these cards that generate this incremental advantage, right? Like, it's the
Hmm.
same thing if you go into the power pack. If your fours are trading for their fives, eventually you're gonna go over the top of them.
Yeah,
So, like,
there is something there.
yeah. So I don't. No, I don't think it's a crazy idea at all. I mean, I think it, like I said, we've seen this idea work in other ways. So yeah, I think it's worth trying out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll experiment. AFL just has the advantage of also being attacks, which is huge in the power pack. But in addition, it also has the advantage of being astral plane and not clipped. So if you get an unlucky takedown on Leo and he's got three shield phalanxes on him, like that's pretty rough.
Yeah, Joan being so inspirational.
That's
But
right.
like when they were going to make that card, they probably had this discussion, right? Should this be a paper clip or should this sit in the astral plane? And they're like, well, she's burned at the stake and she's inspiring them after death. Like,
Yeah,
thematically, astral plane fits. But,
totally.
like, I see
But it's
the
broken.
reason you're asking the question. Like, should this be dialed back a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. So good. So strong.
Yeah. So, fantastic run by you. I mean, everything I saw from the event. I also, I don't know who printed it out, but I did want to mention it. Just something I saw. Whoever got the big picture of Phil Miller, I thought that was
Hmm.
really cool
It was. It was great.
to have. I don't know if that was LRG or Doug that had that made, but class, that's really cool. It
He
just
was
was like a
watching
lot of
over
great
us.
moments. Yeah, I'm bummed I missed it. Excited for get excited to get to play more OP in the future. If you want to see me and play more OP against me in the future, you can also come to Houston because
Yeah.
we are having the first NAOL event in Houston, Texas. From the date here, I don't want to mess this up, and then Howard
It's
Bertrand
soon.
and Chris, yeah, yell at me. It is Saturday, May 2nd, and it'll be in Houston, Texas. So Friday, I think we're going to try and meet at Dragon's Lair, and then Saturday, the NAOL event will be at Asgard Games. So
Sweet.
yeah, they're both cool venues. The Friday event, the place has a full bar and it's huge. They were booked for Saturday. We tried to get there, but they had something large going on. So Asgard was kind enough to give us space. And I've done events for Magic at both shops. They're both great places. I know some of you have asked online, can you get beer there? The answer is yes for both. There are some people that O3 beer is it's never a bad place to be. So you can do that. I mean, the advantage Asgard has over Dragon's Lair is being in the city. So like literally everything is accessible to you. Whereas Dragon's Lair is out in the suburbs. It's about like 10 minutes from my house. So yeah, it'll be a great time. We're playing Modern. We hope you come out. Chris has put up some awesome prizes, in particular from his dope sign collection. You can check it out. He is a big enthusiast of sign things, and like, so if you're into that, it'll be sweet. Come out, play. Excited to see people there. Yeah, hopefully I'll also be at the Columbus event, so looking forward to those coming up. So
That's sick.
Andrew,
He's sending me just, I guess, for winning, a Two Face card signed by the actor who played him in Dark Knight. So that's so awesome. I can't wait to have that. That's gonna
and
be incredible.
also
Chris is the man.
just seeing, like, it was cool that the people were putting up pictures from the event, so like I could still kind of get some feel, like satiate
Yeah,
the FOMO on some level, like you know Joe and the LRG guys giving Chris Rice the Billy the
Billy the
Kid
Kid,
original art. That was
so cool.
so cool.
Yeah,
And if you haven't dealt with Chris, or you haven't met him, he's just like one of the most nicest, welcoming people in the community. Just always wants to help, just always having a good time, always has a positive attitude. I love that I get to play with him, here and trade, and him and his son Ryan, and yeah, that's awesome. So I'm really happy that he got that moment. I know that really meant a lot to him. So
me too.
shout
Yeah, that
out
was killer.
to those guys.
So at that
Andrew,
tourney, you said it's modern,
I'm pretty sure it's
and you are
modern.
one
Yeah,
for
I
both
think so.
days. Okay.
Howard, don't kill me. Let me go. While we're sitting here, let me double check
I thought it
this.
was one legacy, one modern. I was gonna ask what your legacy build was gonna be if you had any ideas.
Man, I haven't touched Legacy in like 8 months. I have
Yeah,
no
me
clue
either.
what I would play. I want to double check this, so bear with me for a second. Because I know Chris put up a post, so it'll be easy to check. Okay, there are multiple posts about this. So, okay. Yeah, I honestly, I don't
Hmm.
know.
Well, if it's modern, do you know what you're bringing?
If it's modern, yeah, we were talking about modern because it seems like most people have modern, so I'm pretty sure it's modern.
Okay.
Um, I'll either bring something with Spartan Training Ground or Joan and Witch.
Hell
I'm a
yeah.
tryhard. Joan's one of my favorite characters. If I just want to play something fun, maybe I'll do like Joan and Count of Monte Cristo.
There you go. Card advantage machine himself.
Yeah, I feel like he is better than what he is being represented.
Oh, I totally
Especially since
agree.
he was so busted in the testing.
Yeah. I mean, all he lost was that little inherent, right? But yeah, I in the playtester tournament where they actually put up money because they were like, build something that's broken to see if it's, if it's fair and what they needed to change last minute. I brought the count, and I ended up taking second in that tournament. I beat Sean Sawyer in the first round, not the first round, but during the normal Swiss or whatever, and then he took me down in the finals. But I had count on my team. He is so brutal, playing that four and then the six face down, take two extra cards. I've even thought about like you could put the Tanupa 10 in there and throw that face down. They're never going to see that coming. I mean, you're only going to get somebody once with it, but still. Yeah, he's just,
Yeah,
every card he has is card advantage.
maybe it's kind of one of those things like if I'm gonna play like Joan and Count, just kind of do like a big string deck where you're
Hmm.
just trying to blow people out like fast. I mean, kind of like the aggressive shift build you had with Wicked Witch. Like I think earlier, towards the season, I think your build was kind of more aggressive in its attacks than others. Like kind of take that kind of angle with it.
Yeah.
I just really like Count. And I think he's playable. Like I don't think he's bad by any stretch. I haven't really experimented with Morgan. I like your idea of looking for characters with special attacks from reserve that, Morgan can throw when they're not expecting it, or they just come up and kind of, like are a real threat instead of just kind of like an afterthought, just being in the back. So,
I mean, you can get like a 3-point discount for playing Baby Mob in the back, and if Morgan's up front, you just put their 2 7s in there, multi and then a 7 brute force, and it's like they get 2 big attacks from the back, and you have 3 extra points to put in your 2 front lines. So you could put like a 19 and a big 22 or whatever. You could run
or Spartan
Morgan.
Training Ground.
Yeah, right. You could even do double shift with Morgan, and then you have a negator, and then Baby Mob in the back, and it's like there's so many options. She just unlocks so many people as reserve playable.
Yeah, I'll have to dig through the card database and just see what could really fit here.
Yeah, but Spartan is where it's at for sure.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
So anything else? So wrapping up, anything else before we get out of here? What do you want to say about the tournament or your run or your new reign as champion?
Oh man, now everybody's gonna have expectations. They're gonna be like, this Anger guy's pretty good, and so now we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to keep winning. I'm just hoping I have no more like PAX performance. It's wild. I lost more games at PAX than at Seattle and the Nationals combined, 4-3. Yeah. I just don't want to. When you put so much into something, you don't want to see, 4-3 is good. Like we see with fields like this, 4-3 is still good, and I should be happy about that. But I was just a little disappointed in myself at that point because I knew I was capable of more. But there's 65% skill, 35% variance. 35 counts for a lot. Anything can happen. You can have crazy matchups or whatever. So I just want to stay consistent. But, the main thing is, even more so than winning, is just, seeing the game continue to grow. That's, my priority one. We're starting up this league thing here in about 2 weeks, and we already got teams kind of designated and hoping that it continues to grow more and more, and we get more and more people in Seattle, and that other communities start doing the same thing and following suit. And so we kind of have this on-ramp to jump into Invincible, and then hoping just a big explosion happens, and we get tons and tons more new interested people. And I really just want to help the community not just get better at the game, but also stay this awesome, integrity field where just everybody has such a great time hanging out with each other, and it's the type of group where you can leave your bag and your decks and you don't have to worry about it getting swiped. Everyone's so welcoming, everyone's so cool. I could sit and hang out with anybody all the time. That's what we do already on Discord. Getting to see them in person was such a treat. It was so cool and so much fun, and so I really look forward to all these tournaments regardless of how well I do. But yeah, I guess there's going to be some expectations, so I got to defend my title. I should continue taking it seriously, but that's pretty easy to do when you love it, love the game already, and you got family playing it and stuff.
I mean, like you said, for this tournament going 7-1, you could easily have been 4-3. I mean, sometimes a dupe or two or whatever, variance doesn't go your way on a hand. To win any event. Like the events I've won in the past or this, you just have to get some luck on some level throughout the day. You're just never winning an event without some things falling your way.
Yep, it's not a chess tournament.
So that's always going to be part of the game. And that's kind of what makes it fun, right? Or we would be playing chess. So
for sure.
Some days you're 7-1, some days you're 4-3, and the difference between those two can be, very slight at times. So, to anyone that was unhappy with their performance, I mean, keep grinding, stay positive, and, you can get there too. I mean, it's great seeing how many people in the community have just started. I mean, I think I listened to Doug's cast, and Felipe was kind of talking about, his journey over the past year and where he was, and, now multiple top 8s, and that can be you, that can be anyone. So keep
absolutely.
And you can
just look at the Sims clan, they're all brand new, and they're all just like the fiercest competitors. And like even some of the new people they've started to absorb, like Andy and Ray Tan, like some of these guys are like brand new, and they just like when you have teachers like that, and you like you're impressionable and you can listen to the advice that's given and learn the fundamentals, and then you put your own twist and unique spin on things. Like the growth is insane for those guys, and that community is a force to be reckoned with because they are all just absolute beasts, and I do not ever want to sit on the table against them, when it's like tourney on the line type of thing. I mean, they're always great to play with and I always have an awesome time, so I do, but at the same time, like, it's like, God, I have to face them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back and grinding with them, and I have no doubt that there's more for me to learn as well, and just to keep
All of
improving,
us.
keep getting better.
Yep. Always room to grow.
I still need to beat Doug in a tournament. I'm still bitter about Western Shootout. I'm coming for you,
He's
Doug.
got your number? Yeah.
Yeah, how many times have we played? I mean, I guess we've only played once in a tournament, but we played twice in that tournament, and he got me both times.
Damn.
So, yeah, I know. Yeah, I lost to him in the Swiss, and then I lost to him in top four. So,
That was what Derek did to me at Valhalla, my first ever tourney. Got me twice. That was when I learned a valuable lesson about you don't have to match your opponent's energy if they're playing like ridiculously fast. You don't also have to play ridiculously fast and then make a boatload of mistakes.
so don't let Andrew get in your head when he's
Right.
commentating his match with you.
That's right. I just like to poke the bear. It's fun.
All right, well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for, Doug, LRG, everything they did for Nats, recording everything, and, it looks great. Really excited to see more of it and, just get back out there and get ready for season 1. So thank you from us. Thank you for, hanging out and making season 0 so great. And, we'll be back for another cast soon.
That's right. Super memorable. Thank you so much to all of them. And everybody for listening. We appreciate you.
All right, take care, everyone. Good night.
Peace.